Hello everybody. I wanted to show off these pencils being drawn for this story that I'm working on. The first thing I did was I created these thumbnails and just some little playing around, trying to figure things out. Um, yeah, so you can see this is the finished pencils on the right, and then you can kind of see the thumbnail I did on the left. But yeah, so I took all these thumbnails and created pencils from each. So let's just take a look. You can see I'm setting up the grid. Unfortunately, that plays on everyone because I did it once and then duplicated it for each. So yeah, just kick back, relax. You can see I originally started trying to do exactly the thumbnails, but that didn't work out, so I changed it quickly. I did use a couple things for reference here, mainly a helmet and gun. Trying to figure out what those would look like. This is intended to just be a quick, I do a lot of drawing in the inks, so I just wanted to get some ideas down here. These knives were hard to figure out. I think I scrapped that and redraw it in a minute. You can see, get proportions right. The flickering is me testing layers. I usually use about 2 to 3 layers. I'll draw a portion in one layer, another portion, another layer, combine them, create a new layer, do another portion, etc. These knives here in the wall, it's intended that these guns shoot knives. So this is like they're being fired upon and this wall is protecting them. This is a story I'm doing for an outlaw comic, an anthology outlaw comic by J.K. Papers. Nathaniel J.K. is always putting out something. I'm very impressed with his output, getting people together to do anthologies. Just, I can't imagine wrangling everybody together, but he seems to do a really good job at it, and I'm glad to be a part of this. I think it's called Soaked in Blood. Issue 5. I think he's dropping 4 and 5 at the same time. And this is going to be in issue 5, which is also 8.5 by 11. So that's why these are a little bit more square than you would think of a regular comic book page, but it is going to be printed at 8.5 by 11. So here I'm almost done wrapping this up. Some knives flying through the air. Yeah. So that's page 1. This is going to be a 6-page story. Here is page 2. And I want to see if I can pause it right at the thumbnail. Okay, so because I know I change a lot as I'm going. So shooting, grenade. I think this one stays pretty close. A lot of these perspectives on the gun are really hard for me to figure out. As anybody, like perspective is hard. So usually just will draw a box and then use that as the base. You can see I'm referencing that gun there. It's coming along pretty good. Getting sizes right. I don't know if this comes through correctly, but the guns shoot knives, as mentioned, and then you'll see in a minute here, like the actual blades of the knives come out, and then the handle of the knife acts as the casing that ejects from the gun. Yeah, there you go. I thought that was a pretty fun idea. Alright, so she's laying waste on some enemies. Supposedly had just turned this corner and is opening fire. And then this, I wanted to draw a grenade comes through. One of the other team members jumps on it, and the only thing that's left of her after it goes off is her bikini. This is just a fun story. It's just something originally I did in my comic book. There was just a background ad for the Bikini Knife War TV show, and that's all it was just a background filler for something goofy. But when I was asked to be part of this anthology, it just kept popping into my head as something that might be a cool fit, and yeah, so I expanded upon it, and try to create this core. I want to do more actually. Now that I've done the pencils, I still got to finish this and ink it, but I think there's more stories that can be told from. Well, you'll see later that this is called Rio Squad. So I want to go back and revisit some Rio Squad adventures eventually. You'll see I changed the dialogue as I go, and even these pencils, the dialogue in these pencils isn't final. I might change it more. We'll see. I usually write up until kind of around inks. Because I don't want to draw too many inks that will get hidden behind dialogue. So I still have time to figure it out, and I'll finalize it as I'm going through the inks. I really like, it's kind of small to see, but I really like the way this figure turned out, how she's kind of like scared of this grenade, as she should be, but kind of like leaning back. This is one of the longer ones. Usually, I think this, the way Procreate exports, I think this is basically like 5 hours and 48 minutes it took me to draw this. And this one took me about 2 hours and 20 minutes to draw. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on this because there's a lot of figuring out and there's a lot of details and all this stuff here. So. Start filling in all kinds of like sliced up body parts. I wanted it to look like lunch meat almost, like sliced steaks, and well, you know what I mean. But I want it to really show that that's the effect that these knives have on their victims. And then let's see, this background stuff will be all kind of figured out later. The purpose here is just to show a mess. Once that's figured, once I start inking it, I'll try to be a little bit more detailed on what's going on there. And you'll see I like kind of gray out everything else. I'll put a white layer with an opacity above everything so I can kind of see what I'm doing better when it starts getting busy like this. I like the way this pose turned out. I don't like that it's covered up by this. It hides too much. I haven't been able to figure out a good way to do that other than making it smaller, but I wanted it to be a little bit bigger. This is probably the longest one. I think the other ones are probably usually around 3 hours. A lot of times this stuff will get hidden. I'm kind of wasting my time here. I need to figure out a better way of doing that. Mainly it's just because I want to get the gesture, the motion, the gesture of the figure. So I got to see it all the way through. But I should be able to bring some of that out. It might not get too lost. All right, that's page 2. Page 3. Let's see if I change this up much. Yeah, I think I removed this bottom panel and moved this to the next page, and then had, well, you'll see more slicing going on here. But the grenade went off, so she has a couple of knives stuck in her from just being in the vicinity. Freaking out. She just saw her friend, her squad mate, take that grenade for her. She quickly snaps out of it because she's got a group of people coming after her. You can't just zone out, you got to be ready. Rio Squad is top notch in their field, so she pulls it together pretty quick, yanks the knives out of her. I wanted her to use these knives. I don't know if that's entirely clear. But that was the intent. Is she is pulling these knives out of her to be used against this horde of enemies that's coming. Try to get some basic lettering in. I feel like that one covers up too much. And we start drawing this panel here. I had a tough time with the arms. I redo the arms a couple of times here. Also looks like I forgot the backpack. She should be wearing a backpack because that's where she's trying to plant a bomb, which we'll see later. But I forget it. I forgot to draw it, but then I do come back and get it later. You'll notice I draw this arm this way, but I'll eventually come back and replace that and put an arm down here. We start filling in some of this crowd. Forgot to draw a helmet. I want to, they're in bikinis and they're fighting a war. So I tried to make sure everyone had a helmet on because that was like the key thing that lets you know that this is just not girls in bikinis. They're actually like in kind of like a war. And then for these two panels down here, I just start drawing big slices of meat. And then I'll start filling in some of the background in different colors or different lighter grays. I think I start with different colors, but then I move to lighter. Yeah, you can see I converted over. It just kind of helps me see what's going on. So the idea is she's got these two knives going after this, just cutting her way through this group, and then we'll see her emerge on the other side of this group in a minute. On the next page. Typically for a crowd like this, I'll do like the first, row of characters. Should be pretty easy to see them. And then I'll just start doing basic silhouettes of figures behind them. There's a radio tower back here. That's the goal, is they're trying to take out this radio tower. All right, it looks like I move it over to the side there. The idea here is there's just like guns way off in the distance, just going off and firing knife blades everywhere. So the sky is just full of these knife blades, almost like a bunch of arrows or something, if this was like a medieval thing. You'll see I chicken out of using a dirty word there. I haven't found... I want to go a little bit harder on some of that stuff, but I kind of chicken out. I wouldn't say chicken out. I'm not sure exactly what kind of language I want to use in some of this yet. For any of my comics, actually. So I was making a note here as I was drawing this page over here. I jumped in there and made that note. That's what you saw there. So here I just totally ignored the original thumbnail, right? So the original thumbnail has her running away from us and then towards this radio tower. But here I'm just totally retrying to figure it out. And then I'll start in on the pencils. Try to get the lettering done first. No, I don't always do that on every page, but some pages, I usually try to block off where I don't need to draw. This is rough. This will, like I said, I do a lot of drawing in the ink, so this probably will change a lot. At least the proportions will look better. But we see her come out the other side of taking on these groups. She's lost an arm. She's got a couple knives in her, slices all over her body. And yeah, just in a rough spot, but she's accomplished at least this task of getting through them. I think these letters are too big. I'll probably make them smaller. They hide a lot of stuff. You'll see, like I try to draw like some of the background, like there's a bikini top flying or like attached to a pole waving in the wind, and you kind of lose that with some of these letters. Then I start filling in the backgrounds here. The idea here is I just wanted it to look like stacks of steaks, you know. You can see here, like I'm trying to draw like stacks of meat as she is sliced through them. There's that bikini thing I was talking about. You can see it kind of gets lost there. Yeah, so just start filling in this background. I just need a hint to tell myself what it should be, and I'll try to make it a lot better in the inks. But it should just look like just a massive field of meat in the end. This won't be in color, so you know, like a lot of this would have red in it. I have to be careful to pull that off with because it'll be black and white, so I have to be careful to be able to pull that off correctly. See, I brought over a clip from the previous page to get an idea of the tower, so I can keep it consistent looking. And then here you'll see I copy and paste this here. I don't normally do that. I'll do it for small parts, but I like to try to not do that. I'm all digital, and it's easy to do that and use it as a final piece, but this will be changed up a lot during ink, so it won't be evident. Well, it might be a little evident, but I don't like to just copy and paste and reuse art. I like to, even if it's real similar or practically similar. Like I think you saw up here, I copied her over here and then changed her up a bit. I'll do it once or twice here and there, but I try to avoid that if I can. I wanted it to look like it was like raining blood, but then I thought that might be too distracting, so I just kind of backed off of it a little bit. I wanted it to just be pouring, you know, maybe bouncing off of the panels, borders and all that, but backed out of that a little bit. Not happy with that panel at all, but it's a base, right? So I'll figure it out when I'm inking it. I'll get it the way I want it. And then this one I'm really unhappy with. I want it like some of the enemies spot her and they start shooting at her and she spins. Make sure that works when I'm inking it. Yeah. Okay. So 2 more pages. Page 5. Okay. So she gets through the crowd. She's running from these shooters. She gets up to the tower, and here she is. So let's see if I change this much. Yeah, I think I keep this pretty close to my thumbnails. The idea is she runs up and takes her backpack off, yanks this bomb out of her backpack, sets it down, and is staring at it like just reflecting right before she knows she's not going to make it. She's going to set this thing off, has a moment of peace before she does it. And the way she does it is you'll notice on some of the previous pages she's smoking a knife. I wanted it to just be totally crazy, like she lights up a knife and smokes it. So here she's going to light up this knife and then use that to stab this bomb. I love the way this figure this gesture of her turned out. You'll notice on this one I actually draw both hands, and luckily I catch it and like, oh yeah, she only has one arm now. So yeah, I don't think originally I didn't plan on her losing an arm. It just kind of, when I was thumbnailing it, but when I got to this page, I needed to do something, so luckily I caught that. I know it took a while to figure out this head. Broke it off to the side to try to help me. But yeah, so she's lighting her knife cigar. Plunges it into the bomb. Now here, I originally have her leg up. But I started realizing, hey, I am covering a lot of her body, which would be cooler to see. So yeah, luckily I changed that and bring that leg down. So here she is, and taking a moment to reflect what's going on before the big kaboom. Really happy with the way this page turned out. I did this twirly wire to help make it clear that this is like something that came out of the backpack or something different in a bomb. I don't know. I remember feeling like this curly wire would help depict that a little bit better, or at least tie these objects together, right? So you see it here and here and here. And then this is supposed to be the base of that satellite tower. Just trying to add something that's more than just meat all around, so I wanted something a little bit more metal looking. Yep, so almost done here. The knives flying through the air. Yeah, perfect. And then finally, my favorite page. I love the way the characters turned out on the last page. I changed this a lot. Originally, it was just an explosion. Let's see if we can catch that. Yeah, right there. So yeah, so originally it was just a big explosion, and I thought, well, that might get a little boring, so let's put some characters like perched up on a little cliff overlooking it. Did that. You'll see that this character on the left is way like short compared to someone leaning down. Luckily I fixed that. Trying to figure out what I want it to say. And there is a typo in daughters here, but that will be fixed in when I go to letter it. I haven't caught that she's too short yet, so I'm still filling her in, but as I draw this character, I think I realize that this character is too short. I already didn't like the way she's kind of hunched over. Her hair covers up part of this, the binoculars here, which I hated in the end, but because I liked the way that looked there. You see, I did the box for the gun to start with. Doesn't look like I pulled that reference in here. I guess I was comfortable. I also hate how the lettering's going to cover up some of this gun. I'm not too happy with that, but it is what it is. Trying to figure out her hair. Yeah, you can see like the binocular area. I gotta fix it. I put it behind there. Yeah, there we go. So I made her bigger. Also bring this leg up some in the end. Right now it's too aligned with the other leg, but I wanted it to look like she had it like she had it like stepped up on some rocks or something. And yeah, it's getting pretty close. Once I get this character done, the background explosion is just a bunch of scribbles, so that'll come by fast. I wanted her to have like some kind of armor on to make it look like she's a little bit different than the others. Yeah, so I bring this leg up here in a minute. There we go. I like that better. Yeah. Just trying to add some kind of equipment that they're using. Still figuring out the dialogue. Minefield sign. I don't know. Maybe that's could be brought up and be shown a little bit bigger. And the explosion. Probably going to change the way this satellite dish works in the final version. I'm not happy with the way I penciled it here. So I'll probably do something a little bit different where maybe there's wires everywhere. Yeah, there you go, man. Had a lot of fun penciling this. I can't wait to ink it. I can't wait to see it printed. I can't wait to see the whole book that Nathaniel's doing. Hope you guys dug it. Talk to y'all later.